I screamed inside when Emily said, "It was only curiosity." Her voice cracked like glass. I felt my chest burn, 1,000 knives of disbelief tearing at me. Michael shifted uneasily, eyes darting, and whispered, "You knew this was possible." My hands trembled. I wanted to crush time itself. Emily's lips quivered. I promised it meant nothing. But the room reeked of broken trust. Anna stood in silence, a tear sliding down her cheek, her voice finally breaking. "You told me I was safe." That word echoed louder than thunder. Safe. The word she destroyed. Michael muttered, "Rules were clear, we agreed." His defensiveness clawed at the walls. Sarah leaned against the window, biting her lip, whispering, "You played us all." The weight of those words froze the air. Emily clutched her chest, shaking her head. It wasn't supposed to be this. Her confession ripped the floor from under me. My soul screamed louder than my voice. Love turned to poison in a single breath. The silence after Emily's words roared louder than thunder. Michael muttered, "We had boundaries." His voice cracked, but he forced control. Anna whispered, "Boundaries don't mean love." Sarah's reflection stared from the glass like a ghost. Emily pleaded, "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could keep it simple." Her trembling words were knives. Michael's fist struck his thigh, the sound sharp in the quiet. He said, "You broke the one rule that mattered." Anna's head dropped, her hair covering her eyes. Sarah said, "Maybe rules never mattered at all." Her voice was quiet but merciless. Emily's hands clawed at the couch fabric, desperate to hold on to something real. Michael stood, towering over Emily, his shadow stretching across her. He said, "I gave you trust, and you burned it." Emily's breath hitched. "I never wanted to hurt you." Her words fell broken. Anna whispered from the doorway, "But you did." Sarah's tone was sharp. "You wanted more than what we agreed." Michael's hand trembled as he pointed, "Curiosity isn't an excuse." Emily shook her head violently. "It was just one moment. It wasn't real." Her voice cracked into sobs. The storm outside beat harder against the window, as if echoing the chaos inside. Anna finally stepped forward, her voice cutting through the tension. "You told me I was your safe place, Emily," she said, trembling with fury. Emily buried her face in her hands, sobbing. "I thought I could keep it apart." Sarah scoffed. "You never kept anything apart." "Not really." Michael growled. "This was supposed to be controlled." Anna shouted, "Control doesn't save love." Her cry ripped through the air. Emily lifted her face, eyes swollen. "I didn't want to lose you." Her words were raw. Silence settled, broken only by the storm outside. Emily's sobs softened into broken breaths. Michael muttered, "You shattered what we built." His voice was bitter, but hollow. Anna whispered, "I don't even know who I am to you anymore." Sarah said, "You wanted us all, but you gave none of us enough." Emily shook her head violently, gasping, "I never wanted to lose any of you." Her hands reached out but found only air. Michael turned away, his silhouette heavy in the shadows. Anna wrapped her arms around herself, shivering. Sarah's eyes gleamed with both pain and cruel clarity. The storm outside raged harder as silence settled inside. Michael said, "We wrote those rules together." His words carried the weight of broken promises. Emily whispered, "I never thought desire could twist into betrayal." Anna muttered, "Desire always demands more." Her tone was sharp, bitter, a blade meant to wound. Sarah tapped the window with restless fingers, sighing, "You all keep pretending rules matter when hearts ignore them." Michael turned toward her, anger flashing in his eyes. "You think chaos is freedom." Sarah shrugged, smirking, "Sometimes chaos is truth." Emily pressed her palms to her face, tears soaking her skin. She said, "I thought I could balance everything, but I kept losing myself." Anna's eyes narrowed, trembling with quiet fury. "No, Emily, you lost us." The thunder outside rolled like judgment. Emily's breath shook as she whispered, "I wanted to believe curiosity was harmless." Michael slammed his fist against the wall, shouting, "Harmless? You crushed everything we trusted. Anna's lips curled with restrained rage. You let yourself slip past every line we drew. Sarah's laugh was bitter, sharp. Lions are illusions. People cross them when they're desperate. Emily sobbed, clutching her knees tightly. Michael's voice cracked. Softer now. I gave you all of me, and you gambled it away. Anna shook her head, whispering, You told me I was safe. Sarah looked out at the storm, her reflection fractured by raindrops, and muttered, None of us were safe. The words hung heavy, suffocating the room with unspoken truth. Michael paced the room, voice low but trembling. Every promise we made feels like ashes now. Emily reached toward him, her voice breaking. I never wanted to lose you. Anna's sharp reply cut through, but you did. You lost us all. Sarah tilted her head, eyes narrowed. Maybe she never wanted to choose. Maybe she wanted it all. Emily cried harder, shaking her head. I only wanted love that could hold us together. Michael stopped, glaring at her. Love doesn't survive lies. Anna stepped forward, arms crossed over her chest. Love doesn't survive silence either. Sarah smirked with cruel clarity. Maybe love was never the goal. The storm outside crashed like applause to their unraveling. Anna's voice finally cracked as she shouted, You promised me I mattered most. Emily looked at her, trembling. You do, Anna. You always did. Michael's bitter laugh filled the space. No one matters most when lies sit between us. Sarah said coldly, She wanted all of you, not just one. Emily collapsed into sobs, her body shaking violently. She gasped, I thought if I gave enough, none of you would leave. Anna whispered, trembling. But you gave pieces, never the whole. Michael slammed his hand against the armchair, growling. Pieces don't build trust, they break it. Sarah's gaze hardened. This was always going to shatter. The storm outside echoed their chaos. Emily's voice grew hoarse. I never meant to destroy us. Michael's reply was venomous. Intent doesn't erase betrayal. Anna's tears streamed silently as she whispered, I can't breathe in this anymore. Sarah tilted her head, speaking like a blade. She never belonged to any of us. She belonged to the hunger. Emily shook violently, whispering, Please, don't leave me alone. Michael turned away, arms folded. You left us alone long before this. Anna's sobs echoed through the room. Sarah's reflection glared back from the window, cold and merciless. The storm howled, swallowing their words into the night. The days blurred into one long, suffocating silence. Michael's voice finally broke through. You want me to forgive, but you didn't ask for it. You didn't want my forgiveness. Emily's eyes burned with guilt, but she said nothing. Anna's voice cut through the tension. You wanted to have it all, but in doing so, you left nothing for any of us. Emily trembled, her eyes never leaving Anna's cold gaze. Sarah leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Forgiveness is a luxury for people who care enough to fix things, she said, her tone empty of emotion. Emily sobbed. I wanted to fix it. I just didn't know how. Michael looked away. You didn't care enough to fix it, Emily. You cared enough to hide it. The words stung like salt on an open wound. Anna's lip trembled, but she bit it back. You were never honest with us. You were never honest with yourself. The silence between them grew unbearable. Michael's voice rose. You were never the person I thought you were, Emily. His words landed like blows, but Emily didn't move. Anna's eyes glistened with restrained emotion as she said, You always thought you could keep us separate, keep us in our corners, but the truth always finds its way out. Emily's heart pounded in her chest, each word they spoke like daggers being thrown. Sarah spoke softly, her tone almost too calm. You can't keep splitting yourself and expect the pieces to stay whole. Emily's chest constricted. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I thought I could handle it. Michael's face darkened. You thought we'd never feel the cracks? You're wrong, Emily. Anna's voice quivered. I'm tired of pretending we're okay. Sarah's eyes narrowed. The truth can't be ignored forever. Emily's shoulders slumped as the weight of their words crashed over her. Did you think we wouldn't see it? Anna's voice rang with hurt. You kept hiding things, from us, from yourself. Emily gasped, shaking her head. I never meant to hide. I didn't want to lose you. Sarah stood silently, arms folded, expression unreadable. You didn't want to lose us? Or did you just want to keep us all, even when we were never enough? The words cut deep. Emily's face flushed with shame as she struggled to hold back tears. Michael's face softened, but his voice was firm. You gave us nothing. No honesty, no trust. Anna shook her head. The truth was in front of you, but you refused to see it. Emily wiped her eyes, feeling each tear like it was draining her soul. Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady. Maybe the truth was always that you never really wanted to be honest. Emily couldn't breathe, the weight of their words suffocating her. Emily's voice was barely a whisper as she said, I didn't know how to fix this. Michael turned sharply, his voice shaking with emotion. You never asked. You never even tried. Emily's eyes welled up again, her body shivering with the storm inside her. Anna's voice was quieter now, but no less sharp. It was always about control, wasn't it? You wanted to control how we felt, how much we mattered. Emily's chest tightened. I never meant to control anyone. I wanted to feel whole. Sarah scoffed, but you destroyed us in the process. Emily choked on a sob. I didn't mean to. Michael clenched his jaw, his voice bitter. But you did. And you didn't care enough to stop it. The silence was suffocating. Emily couldn't speak anymore, couldn't explain, couldn't breathe. The silence was unbearable, a void that no one could fill. Emily finally spoke, her voice raw and cracking. I thought I could keep everything separate, but I was wrong. Michael's eyes flared with rage. Wrong isn't enough, Emily. You broke everything. Anna's breath hitched. We were never separate. We were always connected, and you tore that apart. Emily looked at her, her face stricken with grief. I never wanted to hurt you. I thought I could hold on to all of you. Sarah's voice was cold. You never held on to anything but your own selfish needs. Emily's heart shattered as the words sunk in, their meaning deeper than the storm outside. Michael stood tall, his expression final. We're done. You've hurt us too much. Anna said softly, and you've hurt yourself. Emily's body crumpled, the final realization breaking her. The moment Michael's words landed, everything shifted. You can't undo the past, Emily, he said, voice thick with anger. Emily's heart squeezed as if every beat was being forced. I never thought I'd have to, she whispered. Anna stood still, her arms crossed tightly, eyes sharp as daggers. You can't erase us. You can't just wish this away. Emily's chest tightened. I never wanted to forget any of you. I just thought if I stayed silent, it would fix itself. Michael scoffed. Silence is what ruined everything. You never spoke your truth. Sarah leaned against the wall, watching the tension unfold. You're not the only one hurting, she said, voice cold. Emily turned toward her, eyes pleading. I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Anna's eyes flickered with disbelief. You think you're the only one who was hurt? Emily looked at the floor, every word she had left too heavy to speak. Emily wiped her tears, looking at Michael. What do you want from me? Michael's voice was tight. I want the truth, Emily. The whole truth. Anna's frustration was evident, her fists clenching. Truth doesn't change what's been done, she said bitterly. Sarah took a deep breath, her voice almost a whisper. You've already broken us. What's left to fix? Emily's eyes pleaded for forgiveness, but Michael's expression remained cold. You never thought about us when you crossed the line, he said, his words punctuated by the soft hum of the storm outside. Emily shook her head. I didn't know how to handle it. I thought I was doing what was right. Anna shook her head in disbelief. Right for who, Emily? Right for you? The question hung in the air, unanswered. Emily felt the walls closing in on her as the storm outside intensified. I wanted love, Emily finally whispered, her voice breaking. Michael turned sharply, his face hard. You wanted freedom, but you couldn't handle the consequences. Emily's chest tightened with shame, but she couldn't deny it. I thought I could make it work, she muttered. Anna's voice came with a bite. You were always pretending you could be everything to everyone. Sarah shook her head slightly, her tone biting. You thought you could control how we all felt. Emily's heart ached as she looked at the faces of the people she had hurt. I never meant to hurt anyone, she said softly. Michael's eyes burned with disbelief. You didn't mean to? That's your excuse? Anna cut in, her words sharp. There are no excuses left. Not anymore. The silence between them stretched, unbearable and suffocating, until Emily was left with nothing but the hollow weight of her actions. I thought I could fix everything, Emily said, her voice shaky, desperate for some semblance of control. Michael's voice was rough. You never even tried. Emily reached out, her hand shaking. Please, Michael, I never meant to destroy us. Michael stepped back, his voice cold. You did, Emily. We're already broken. Anna's voice cracked. And there's no fixing this, not anymore. Emily looked at Sarah, who stood silent, watching her. Is this really the end? Emily asked, her voice barely a whisper. Sarah finally spoke, her words sharp and clear. It's been over for a while, Emily. Emily's world seemed to crumble in that moment. The truth was there, too raw, too painful. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the storm outside and the storm inside her. I thought I could keep it together, keep it all in balance, she said softly. Michael's eyes were sharp. You never believed in balance, Emily. His words stung deeper than she expected. Anna's voice was quieter now, almost sad. You never believed in us. Not really. Emily closed her eyes, the tears flowing freely. I wanted to. I wanted to be enough for all of you. Sarah stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. You can't be everything to everyone. You tried, but it's too late now. Emily looked at each of them, but no one moved to comfort her. Michael's voice broke through the silence. We're done, Emily. You've lost us. The room felt heavier than ever. Emily whispered, I've tried to hold on, but I don't know how anymore. Michael's voice cracked. We're already gone, Emily. His words were sharp, final. You can't just undo everything we've been through, he added. Emily's eyes stung with tears. I never wanted to break us, she said. Anna's tone was quieter now, but no less angry. You can't keep pretending it's not broken, Emily. Sarah crossed her arms, her gaze fixed on the floor. You're not the only one hurting, she muttered. Emily looked at them, her heart breaking further. I didn't want this to be the end, she said, her voice barely audible. Michael stood still, staring at her with a mixture of disbelief and sorrow. You've already made it the end, he whispered. Anna nodded grimly. It's too late for anything now. The storm outside had nothing on the chaos inside. The silence between them seemed to stretch for eternity. Emily finally said, I never wanted to lose any of you. I never thought I could be the one to destroy us. Michael's voice was raw, but you did. And we can't just pretend it didn't happen. Anna's expression softened for a brief moment, but she quickly masked it. We were never a perfect fit, Emily, but we tried, she said, her voice trembling slightly. Sarah tilted her head. Sometimes trying is not enough. Emily's face crumpled. I thought if I could just hold on a little longer, I could fix everything. Michael shook his head. It's never that easy. You can't fix something that's already broken. Anna sighed, and now we're left to pick up the pieces. Emily felt the weight of their words like a physical presence, crushing her. I never wanted to hurt anyone, Emily said softly, but her words didn't seem to reach them. Michael's eyes flashed. That's the problem, Emily. You didn't want to hurt anyone. But you hurt all of us anyway. Sarah stepped forward, her voice firm. You can't just avoid pain and hope everything stays perfect. Emily swallowed hard, tears threatening again. I thought if I kept everything together, we could be okay, she whispered. Anna's voice broke through. You kept trying to hold us together while slowly letting go of everything that mattered. Emily's breath hitched. I didn't know how to stop. Michael sighed, his shoulders slumping. It's too late to stop now, Emily. The air between them was thick with the weight of all their broken dreams, their shattered trust. Emily felt utterly powerless in the face of their anger and disappointment. Emily's voice faltered as she said, I never knew how to ask for help. I didn't know how to tell you what was really happening inside of me. Michael's eyes softened for a moment, but then he shook his head. You should have tried. We couldn't help if you didn't let us in. Anna's voice was quieter, almost sympathetic, but still firm. You kept us at arm's length. You made this harder than it needed to be. Emily's chest tightened with guilt. I didn't mean to push you away. Sarah spoke softly, but you did. You built walls instead of bridges. Emily closed her eyes, the weight of their words making it impossible to breathe. I didn't know how to fix myself, let alone all of us, she whispered. Michael sighed deeply. We're not fixing this. We can't. It's too far gone. Maybe we were never meant to be together, Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. Michael's eyes closed for a moment, his pain evident. Maybe not, he replied, his voice hoarse. Anna sighed, her face reflecting a deep sadness. We fought so hard for something that wasn't even real. Sarah's tone was calm, but her words cut like glass. Sometimes the hardest truth is that love just isn't enough. Emily felt the words settle like stones in her stomach, too heavy to bear. I never wanted this to be the end, she murmured. Michael turned away, his voice thick with finality. It's already over, Emily. Anna gave a small shake of her head. You can't force something to work when it was never meant to. The room fell into silence, each person carrying their own grief, their own version of the truth. The room was still, the weight of what had happened settling into every corner. Emily sat by the window, her eyes staring out at the gray sky. I don't know how to keep going, she whispered, almost to herself. Michael's voice cut through the silence. You never knew how to begin, Emily. You never knew how to build something from the ground up. Emily turned her head slowly, her eyes bloodshot and tired. I wanted to build, she said, her voice trembling. I just didn't know how to fix what I broke. Anna's voice softened, a sharp contrast to the anger she'd shown before. It's not about fixing, it's about learning from what's broken. Sarah stood near the door, her arms crossed, her gaze distant. You can't change the past, Emily, she said, her voice steady. Emily's hands clenched in her lap, her shoulders heavy with the burden of everything they'd said. I didn't know how to make it right, she whispered. I didn't know what to do. Do you ever think about what we could have been? Emily asked softly, breaking the stillness. Michael's eyes flickered with emotion, but he didn't answer immediately. Anna, standing by the doorway, said, We could have been something, but we weren't given the chance. Emily felt the sting of those words, but she didn't respond. Sarah shifted slightly, her voice low. Sometimes you just don't realize what you have until it's gone. The weight of their words was almost suffocating. Emily's heart ached, but she couldn't undo the past. I didn't want to lose you all, she whispered. Michael sighed, his frustration evident. But you did, Emily. You pushed us away. Anna's voice softened but remained firm. You let fear control you instead of facing what was real. Emily's throat tightened, and the words she needed to say got stuck somewhere deep inside her. Emily stood, her legs shaky as she walked toward the others. I thought I was doing what was best, she said, her voice small but firm. Michael turned to face her, his eyes narrowed. You didn't do what was best, Emily. You did what was easiest. Emily flinched at the harshness in his words. Anna stepped forward, her voice softer than before. You chose to ignore the consequences, to live in the moment. Emily's gaze dropped to the floor, the weight of their judgment sinking deep into her chest. I didn't know how to handle everything, she whispered. I didn't know how to balance it all. Sarah's voice was quiet but final. You never balanced anything. You avoided everything. The silence that followed was heavy, each person feeling the sting of truth in their words. Do you think it's possible to forgive me? Emily's voice cracked as she asked the question that had been on her mind for days. Michael's eyes locked onto hers, his expression unreadable. Forgiveness is earned, Emily. It's not something you can ask for, he said, his voice colder than she expected. Anna looked at Emily with a mixture of sadness and exhaustion. We all have our wounds, but some are harder to heal than others. Emily swallowed hard, her throat tight. I know I hurt you all. I know I can't undo it. Sarah's voice, surprisingly calm, cut through the air. You can't change the past, Emily. You can only change what comes next. The room was quiet for a long moment as Emily absorbed their words. Her heart was heavy, but somewhere deep inside, she felt a glimmer of understanding. "I don't know how to let go of this," Emily admitted, her voice barely a whisper. Michael's expression softened just a little. "Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, Emily. It just means accepting that things can't be what you wanted them to be." Anna stepped forward, her voice low but full of compassion. "Sometimes we don't get the endings we dream of." Sarah nodded, her eyes steady. "But we can still move forward, even if it's alone." Emily's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, there was a sense of release. "I don't know if I'm ready to move forward," she said, "but I have to try." Michael looked at her, his eyes still holding a trace of sadness, but also something else: acceptance. "It's not about being ready, Emily, it's about taking the first step." The silence that hung between them felt like an eternity. Emily finally broke the stillness, her voice barely audible. "What do we do now?" Michael's eyes were fixed on her, but his expression was unreadable. "We move on," he said, his voice soft yet final. Emily's heart sank. "You think it's that easy?" she asked, almost pleading. Anna's voice interrupted, firm but gentle. "Moving on doesn't mean forgetting, but we can't stay trapped in what's already fallen apart." Sarah stood near the window, watching the rain fall. "The hardest part is accepting it's over," she said, her tone quiet but resolute. Emily closed her eyes, trying to hold on to the remnants of something that felt real. "I don't know how to let go," she whispered. Michael's gaze softened just slightly, his voice more understanding now. "You don't have to, but you have to face it." The weight of their words pressed down on her like an unbearable weight. Anna took a step forward, her eyes never leaving Emily. "We were all broken in different ways," she said softly. Emily's throat tightened as she heard the truth in her words. "And you think we'll ever be whole again?" Emily asked, her voice shaking. Anna paused before answering, her gaze unwavering. "I think we can heal, but we have to start by accepting the damage." Sarah turned toward them, her voice calm but heavy. "Healing is a process, and it doesn't come quickly." Emily looked between them, feeling the weight of their expectations, but also a glimmer of hope. "I don't know how to start," she confessed, her voice breaking. Michael's gaze softened slightly. "The first step is realizing that letting go doesn't mean giving up." The room fell into silence once more, each person reflecting on their own journey. "You don't get it," Emily whispered. "I'm not sure I can face the fact that this is really the end." Michael's eyes locked onto hers, his expression hardening again. "You're already facing it, Emily," he replied, his tone heavy with finality. Anna stood beside him, her voice softer now. "We all have our moments of doubt, but we can't stay frozen in them." Emily felt like her heart was cracking under the weight of their words. "What if I'm not ready?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Sarah's voice, steady as always, broke through the tension. "You don't have to be ready, you just have to start moving." Emily's hands trembled in her lap as the reality of her situation set in. "I don't know how to begin again," she said softly. Michael nodded, his voice quieter but still firm. "Sometimes you just have to take the first step, even if you're scared." Emily took a deep breath, looking at each of them. "What if I can't let go of what we had?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Michael's expression softened. "Letting go doesn't mean erasing everything. It just means accepting that some things weren't meant to last." Anna's eyes were filled with sadness but also understanding. "We can't hold on to what's already gone, Emily," she said gently. Sarah's tone was calm, yet final. "It's about learning to move forward with the lessons, not the past." Emily closed her eyes, feeling the weight of their words. "I don't want to forget though," she admitted. "I don't want to lose what we had." Michael stepped closer, his voice low. "You won't forget, but you can't stay stuck either." The silence finally gave way to Emily's quiet confession. "I've been scared of moving forward. I don't know what that looks like without all of you in my life." Michael stepped forward, his voice steady. "You'll find out, and we'll find our own paths too." Anna's voice was soft but resolute. "It's okay to be afraid, Emily. But it's also okay to let go and start again." Sarah nodded in agreement. "We all have our own journeys now, but we don't have to forget what we shared." Emily's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were tears of release. "I never thought I'd get to this point," she whispered. Michael's voice, now full of acceptance, echoed in the stillness. "It's not about where we end up, Emily. It's about how we get there."